All right, beautiful people. It is time. Let Instagram family come in the picture. Hello, Instagram people. How are we doing today? It is time for the one and the only, the hashtag YesChefCarlos podcast. This is Friday. Today is Friday, and I'm ready for the weekend. I hope you all ready for the weekend. TGIF, people. All right. My part in the world is to lead, inspire, feed, and educate. And how I'm doing that is by this podcast, somehow, some way, some shape, and form. So with that said, let's get the show on the road today. We have the conversation of the power of education. So what does the power of education have to do with us, and what does it mean for us? And again, the power of education, focusing on el poder de la dedicación and what we're doing in this world. Look at me speaking Espanol today. Anyways, I'm feeling a little golf moment today with this shirt on today. I hope you like my new hat. It was a gift from a friend, but my hat has a little bear on there. Hashtag Bear and Boujee lifestyle. And if you didn't already know, I am in Gilroy, California, in the Bear and Boujee studios, where I live the bearded, the bigoton, and the fabulous lifestyle. And my life is just doing my thing and living the dream. So before we have this conversation, Instagram is to the left. Hello, people. I hope you all are having a great Friday. Today is Friday, and it's 1 p.m., and it's time for this podcast to go on. And y'all know these are just my opinions, my advice, not even advice. It's just an opinion that I have. So I'm just going to showcase that today and just bring a little light and positivity to the world. Before I do that, y'all know I always light a white candle to bring some guidance, some purity, some light into my life while I have these conversations. And as soon as that conversation is done, I'm able to turn that candle off, which means it's time to move on. Listo para seguir en la vida. It's time to just keep on going, doing my thing. So as y'all know, I'm just lighting my candle, enjoying some time. Yes, speaking of tacos, yes. You don't want to know. Anyways, I'm lighting the candle, doing my thing, living the dream. I'm ready for this podcast because, honey, it's been a week. Let me just tell you that it's been a week. It's been a month. It's been a year. It's been a couple years, right? So I'm just going to be talking about the power of education, how it impacted my life, and how I kind of go forward with that. I am going to bring some conversations and some quotes that I kind of look to or follow when it comes to teaching. As you all know, a lot of you know, I'm an educator by trade. So I'm a chef by trade, as you all know that, right? But then I also have a credential in teaching education, vocational education to be exact. So wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, give me a little love today. Give me a hashtag YesChefCarlos down below and just give me some light and positivity and just let me know you're here. And if you're joining on from a different country, city, or part of the world, definitely tell us where you're from, what city, what country we're in, donde estamos, cuál ciudad. Just let me know where you are and what you're doing and what your goal is today. And if you have a purpose in life, let us know that purpose, because I have a purpose and I know it's just being here, living my true self and being authentic as much as I can. So with that said, we are moving forward with the power of education, which to me basically corresponds to a moment that I had not so long ago, actually, just a few years ago in my teaching career with my boss, actually. She always talks about education, the power it has for people, and the focus of that. You know, she's quite the, educational savvy person, and she just makes things happen. Her name's Rebecca. So if she's on here watching, Rebecca, my boss, my mentor, my person of all educational guidance, she always says, she firmly believes in the power of education, and what we do to educate people out there is so crucial and so important, because us in America have so many opportunities to learn education, to be educated, to get education, but there's so many people still out there that don't have that ability to get the education resources that they need to move on, to perspire, to be someone, to empower those out there, to be, part of a good community, or be a part of the world, be a part of the change about anything. So with that said, if you haven't already, give me some love, give me some hashtag YesChefCarlos down below. I know y'all watching, y'all give me some love and positivity. I love it. But let me know where you're from and what you're doing, and how's your Friday going. So with that said, let's talk about how the power of education changed my life. Students have said great things of you at GHS. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Again, teaching is just my focus, and being able to get to the level of your students is just so huge and so It's so important. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't ever have that, how we call it, the feeling to kind of get down to a level of your students, because they feel like they're so empowered because they are the teacher, which is, you're right. You should have some empowerment because you went to school and you got the education, but you have to learn how to kind of get to your level to your students, which is so crucial. And for me, the work that I do and the youth that I work with are primarily disenfranchised youth ages 15 and 25. And my goal is to teach them job skills, life skills, and culinary skills, as you know, which is what I do through my chefing career in life. I do it through food. I found that food is able to kind of get someone the trust that you need to start building a relationship to talk about things, right? Once someone's stomach is happy, I feel happy then to perspire and be better when I have a good stomach, food of stomach, right? But again, for a lot of these, individuals out here, no matter what age you're teaching or what level of education you're teaching, even if you're just having a group somewhere at a nonprofit or at a church, you have to, sometimes bring a little food to the table so people can feel comfortable to learn, right? Once your stomach is happy, your heart is happy, your mind is going to be ready to go and learn. And so that's so crucial to me. And so going back to what my boss always talks about when it comes to the power of education, it's basically showcasing that you have a power to give someone information, to give them light, to give them hope, right? And education, like I mentioned, can be any different way of coming in your church, in your educational field, in your place of employment, your worship, whatever you want to do, wherever you're doing it. It's a chance to bring some information to someone who can utilize it. So I'm going to mention a little quote from a good philosopher or educator that I kind of follow and talk about. Their name is Merriam Wright Elderman. And basically, education is improving the lives of others. So us out here educating people, it just has a huge kind of component to change someone's life, right? Even if you give them a few words of wisdom, or even if you give them a couple sentences, a paragraph, giving them a book to read about something you're passionate about, it's going to intertwine and change that individual for something more positive down the road. And you never know. You can give a book to 1,200 students every single day for the year. But if you have an ability to change one person's view or ability to view something differently in a different light or different scope, you're going to have more accomplishment and self-gratitude for yourself and for many others, right? And you're going to be able to teach someone one thing that they can then teach to someone else. So train the trainer, teach the teacher, right? And that's kind of how I was able to learn. I learned from so many friends and family and educators in my life and philosophers and therapists. And it gave me a chance to kind of move forward in a positive way and take the information that I once learned and be a mentor for someone else, to teach someone else, because you never know, even if that one student takes that information and educates someone else, your job is done, right? Is your job ever done, though, as an educator? No, right? A lot of us are educators, we can be working at a restaurant, we can be a bartender, we can be a seamstress, we can be any vocational trade out there, or just in general, what you're doing for your education or for your job. You can go and teach someone else below you, someone who's wanting to be mentored by you, an apprentice, someone you just hired and still doesn't know the ways of ins and outs. And I still to this day have many students and apprentices and employees kind of calling or texting and saying, hey, chef, how would you do this? How would you go about this? What are your thoughts on this person's take, right? So a lot of this can sound a little mumbo jumbo, but basically the main focus is Nelson Mandela kind of put it in a really well light, basically talked about education as the most powerful weapon which can use to change the world. So yes, education can definitely be a weapon in a sense and make, negative things happen, but it also could be a positive weapon in our life that allows us to kind of come at someone differently and say, you know what, this is my perspective. This is my feeling. This is what I have to say about this situation. Okay, so just real quick for Instagram family, if you're joining us right now, the power of education is on the table. We're talking about it today. We're living, we're loving, we're being about it. And basically my chance to focus and talk about different things in the world when it comes to education, how education made me who I am today, but also how I go out and educate people in the world to hopefully get one person to just say, you know what, you're right. You're in. I got it. I feel it, you know? So if you haven't already, give me some love. A hashtag YesChefCarlos down below. Tell me what country, you're tuning in from. What are you up to this Friday? And again, it is Friday, Facebook Live at 1 p.m. with Instagram and YouTube family. So I hope y'all are doing good on this Friday. Again, I'm in Gilroy, California, the Bear and Boujee Studios itself, where I'm living the bearded, the big and tall, and the fabulous lifestyle. And we're talking about the power of education. So next topic, okay? So in talking about educators and education and how it's so available these days, I personally, I got my teaching credential and I went to get, some chefing skills degree or, in culinary arts. But now my role has changed in my life. So I feel like going back to school is so important for me now because I know what I want and I know why I'm doing it and I know I'm going to put my 150 million% into it. So going back to school to get, eventually a master's in psychology to become a licensed something when it comes to therapy is just what I'm doing next. It could be an LPCC, it can be, something else along the way, but my goal is to be able to get my education more stronger to go out and help more in the future because I work at a nonprofit that focuses on teaching and educating and empowering children and families and parents and grandparents across, our area to become stronger individuals in their families, which is so crucial, right? So that's the main focus of why I've gone back to school and wanted to talk about education. And I have it in more conversations. Education, back in the last couple of months of going back to school, I've learned so many new words and vocabularies that I just didn't have in my everyday vocabulary. So when I talk to my friends or talking to family and they're like, whoa, what was that word about? And I'm just like, whoo, child, let me just tell you this education thing's something, I don't know. So, and I've been able to meet, when I first went to culinary school, there was people, lawyers, doctors who were kind of going back to learn a different skill or trade. Right. And then I went to get my teaching credential and there was people from all different walks of life and education and trades that are trying to learn how to become a teacher to teach a trade. We had woodworking, we had fishermen, we had, tourism, recreation. So being able to get my credential in tourism, recreation, hospitality opened up a whole new door, for a lot of different other things. And now that I'm going back to become, a therapist eventually, or kind of get the licensings to become a, clinician of some sort, it has opened up so many other words and opportunities and doors in my life that I'm able to kind of like bring forward to people and be like, hey, did you know this? Or did you know that? What are your thoughts on this, right? So, hello, everybody. I'm wishing you lots of love and positivity today. Let's get the show on the road. We're kind of moving into the whole, education. What is education? ¿Qué es la educación in your country, in your city, in your world? What kind of schooling have you done? What kind of school, have you maxed out at? How do you feel about going back to school? So the power of education is within us, and we're just trying to see what's next. Am I right? So unfortunately, when it comes to different countries, education isn't as available. It isn't as available, meaning there's no public system in some countries. There's no free, elementary, middle school, high school education, kind of like that. There's no FAFSA, there's no scholarships, there's no financial aid kind of thing. And that's unfortunate, that's unfortunate when people can't really get the same thing that we have available for us. So we're very grateful. You got to be grateful to have this opportunity and take it for those who hopefully can get it one day, right? So I have a past student who I always, check in and see how they're doing. And they went through some situations in life that led them to being a victim of human trafficking. And they were coming from a country that, poverty is huge. Educational system is horrible. They had to pay to go to school. They were from, I believe it was Nigeria, right? So the education there wasn't as strong for them, and they weren't able to succeed and finish only because they couldn't afford it. And for them, turning the age of 10, 11, work is number one goal. You go out there, you bust your chops for, a nickels and dimes, what it feels like today. And now that individual, because of their circumstances of human trafficking, becoming a victim, they were able to come to the U.S., not in a negative, light, unfortunately, but again, they made the best of it, right? So they were able to kind of come into my circle, talk to me and tell me their issues and struggles and what's next and their goals. And we were able to kind of create a plan, right? They ended up going back to high school, finishing their GED within like a year, and then moved on to a college, right? They got into college, they got a free education, and they were able to kind of move on in that way. So knowing that they came from nothing, literally in a country that didn't have anything available, to where they are today, going into their, I think, 6th year of, college and becoming a nurse, and their main goal is become an RN, which is only a couple years away for them, is so huge. That individual then learned English and mastered it and got their driver's license and, have a brand new car, and then also, have their own place. And in just like the last 4 or 5 years, that was able to happen for them, which is so amazing to see, because of the system we have in our country here is able to kind of give them the possibilities to get there. They still work hard, they're still doing their education and, working 50, 60 hours right now, especially because the pandemic, because they're in nursing, has been so amazing for them that they've changed their life for the best, literally the best. And I think about that, and I just kind of want to talk about some things I've learned, and kind of, every time I have a new topic, I always research. I do some, research to find out who's doing what's out there, and what's it about. So I'm going to put this up, and I'm just going to read it out loud. But before I do, let's take this off. So basically, I heard and listened to a speech that was given to the Save the Children International CEO, Hella Thorning-Schmidt, at the Educational World Forum on January 23rd of 2017. And basically, she went off to say that education is the most empowering force in the world. It creates knowledge, builds confidence, and breaks down barriers to opportunity. For children, it is their key to open the door to a better life. However, it is a sad reality of our world today that millions of children will never receive this key because of, obviously she's mentioning their country or where they're from and how available it is, or just things happen, right? Shit happens, excuse my French, but it literally just happens. They are destined to stay locked in cycles of disadvantage and poverty. I think Malala described the heart-wrenching situation best when she said, in some parts of the world, students are going to school every day. It's their normal life, but in other parts of the world, we are starving for education. Like it's a precious gift. It's like a diamond. They cannot continue. All children deserve to receive the precious gift of education. In fact, we are promised to give to them. It is time to deliver. Under a sustainable development goals, their blueprint for progress, the whole world has agreed. We are continuing to give all children an inclusive and quality education by 2030. So that's kind of the focus, what California is working on, and what Save the Children is doing as an international CEO. Basically, they're trying to get the numbers up of how education can be so much more stronger and how much work it still has to progress, right? So to get the 263 million children currently out of school back in, to make sure that 130 million children currently reach grade 4 without learning basic reading and math skills, become masters of both, right? To stop girls from being excluded or getting married off. Right now, one girl under 15 is married every 7 seconds in the world. They should be starting a new year of school, not starting a new life of disadvantage. So I know this sounds a bit bleak, but we have to face up to the fact that we are in the midst of the educational crisis and are running well behind of our promise to the world's children. So moving back on that, let's kind of get that and just kind of sit on that for a second, right? What does that mean? What did that kind of show for us? So basically, no matter what you can do to share your education with someone else, be there to kind of bring some light and positivity to anyone out there, because it's so important to do it, right? Can I get a hashtag Yes Chef Carlos? If you're still watching down below, if you're still on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube and you're watching right now, give me a hashtag Yes Chef Carlos, because my goal is to just lead, inspire, feed, and educate. And that's what I'm doing today, right? I'm just bringing some positivity, some light, and some information to kind of make sure that we're keeping these conversations going. And it's helped me so much. So I want to make sure I, bring it forward. So Malcolm X once said, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So educate yourself, people. I'm just giving you my opinion. It's just my advice, not even advice. It's just an opinion, as I always say. And I just want to get out here and just talk about how crucial it is to learn a new thing, a new topic, a new conversation, new words, new anything of educational wise, because it's going to help us later on. And it's going to help us to get out there and move forward and support others, right? So that's all I have for you today, to be honest. I just wanted to talk about the power of education and what it basically means for me, and how someone else taught me what the power of education is. And now I'm out here teaching others. So hopefully they can then share that with anybody else in the world. So that concludes our conversation today. I appreciate all of you for watching. Give me some love and positivity and light down in the comments. Give me a hashtag Yes Chef Carlos if you haven't already. And that concludes my conversation, which means it's time to turn this candle off and conclude this conversation and close this chapter, because it's time to move on. Sis, Aiden, brother, and everyone out there, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you again next Wednesday for Wind Down Wednesday on both Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So stay tuned. Next Friday, we will not have a Facebook Friday live at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's actually going to be on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the evening. So stay tuned for that information. It's coming at you live on Monday. And if you haven't already, click on all the links on my social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm everywhere, and give me some love. And if you haven't already, give me that love and give me a hashtag Chef Carlos below. And again, my name is Chef Carlos, and I'm just living that bearded, big and tall and fabulous lifestyle, being the bare and bougie self that I am. So bye everyone, have a great one and enjoy. Thank you.